You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
I'm David Madalena, and Miss Samantha Walsh is joining me.
Hey.
First of all, apologize. We had some serious technical difficulties here in the studio.
It's the feds.
It was the feds.
It was the feds.
The feds.
It was the feds. They were raiding us.
So we are now live, and if anybody's out there listening, we'd love to see if we can get some calls in. They're on the radio, on the website page, where you can give us a call if anybody has any information on the raids.
Oh, I would love some calls. I've heard some. Now, what'd you do to my earphones, Sam?
Sorry, it's all good.
I need to hear myself.
So the big news of the day, obviously, and we just started talking about it as if we didn't announce it, is that the DEA, in conjunction with the IRS, has been raiding Colorado dispensaries located in either Denver area or in Boulder today. I have a list, all right?
I have a list, too.
We both have lists.
Thank you to the lovely Veronica Caprio, who's been updating people on Facebook. Very well connected.
Awesome. Why don't we go with your list, and I want to see what is missing or not on my list. But what you have to say is some of these locations are confirmed, obviously, that they've been raided, and some of them have not been confirmed yet. So don't everybody go crazy.
Yeah.
There are also some of these companies that are going to be mentioned that work in warehouses of other dispensaries that have been raided.
That is one of the parts of confusion because, a lot of these companies, which may or may not be...
most likely, especially the edible companies or concentrate companies that we mentioned, you definitely got to take this with a grain of salt because they might just be sharing a warehouse space with a dispensary that was getting raided. And I do have an inside source.
A few of them have changed hands over the last few months. There's been a lot of
I have an inside
on.
source at Marcaja, and I will say that they said none of their employees have been detained. They were not allowed into the warehouse. They were supposed to be allowed in later on this evening to see what the damage was, but he did not seem like their company was in trouble for this. They were just happened to be in a VIP warehouse space, which is a confirmed location that has been raided at. So let's go through the list and then let's just kind of talk about this situation.
We've got obviously VIP Wellness, 420 Wellness. It looks like Mary Jane's Kitchen, Cushism, Golden Goat, People's Choice, Swiss Medical in Boulder, Canamed, Next Harvest, unconfirmed, Peace and Medicine Center, and the Alternative Medicine in Denver.
Okay, so those are the last three you gave me.
Green Tree.
I have Green Tree, and I have everything else. I think you said Golden Goat as well.
Yes.
And now you just said Peace and Medicine.
Peace and Medicine Center, unconfirmed.
Peace and Medicine, isn't that the Stanley Brothers?
I don't know.
I haven't heard that one.
I'm just going off of what I'm seeing. It's just terrible. This is the worst news information source ever.
It really, yes. Right now, everything's coming from Facebook. Now, I want to say that you check out the Hemp Connoisseur's Facebook page. I have my managing editor, Rick Macy, on it already, and we have all of our reporters looking in to try to get any confirmed information on this. So we want to be able to post this when we know what we're posting is real. So what we're talking about right now, Samantha and I, are just what we've been seeing as it's been posted. So, the big one that's confirmed that I've seen on the news and on 9 News website and Westward and Denver Post has been VIP Wellness. That's the one that I keep seeing. And then there's also Swiss Medical. Did you get Swiss Medical?
Yes.
Yeah. But the last three I hadn't heard.
That's one's in Boulder, right?
Those are in Boulder, yeah. And there are other places that I saw that were posted saying that they are connected to their kitchen, but they weren't rated themselves. So it's interesting to see. We're going to have to, it's going to take at least a day or two to kind of let the dust settle to figure out exactly what's going on.
Yes.
But, would you say that this is a surprise?
Well, I would say that there's a reason the Cole memo came out, the new Cole memo. I think we all knew, if you were in the know or if you were plugged in or not, there was definitely rumors circulating for a while. I know I had been hearing rumors going back as far as 6 months. I think that anyone plugged into the community sometimes knows who's good, who's bad, who's maybe in the gray area. rightly or wrongly. Sometimes it is nothing but circumspect.
Well, it's ironic because that Cherry Top Farm location, which is no longer Cherry Top Farms,
right?
But it's the location, the VIP warehouse, and also where Mark Haha is located. I was actually at that warehouse yesterday.
That's crazy.
I know. That location's kind of got a little mini curse going on. And
Can you admit you were at that location? Are you going to get busted with RICO charges?
How am I going to get? Yeah, I'm going to get busted. There was a raid that Cherry Top Farms had to be working with the dispensary that was getting raided, and they confiscated all Cherry Top Farms plants. And to my understanding, they were never brought to charge or anything, but by cutting down all their plants, they basically lost their business because they couldn't recoup from it, even though they didn't have any. From what I'm saying, they had no wrongdoing, and so that's a concern for some of these other companies that are connected to these warehouses. Is are you guys going to be able to are they going to just go? We don't care whose plants these are, since you're associated with these guys just by location. We're just cutting everything down.
Yeah.
We're confiscating.
And we should probably. We should probably say everything we say here is alleged. Everyone is proven innocent.
Everything is alleged. Everyone here is proven innocent. We should probably repeat that throughout the show.
Innocent till proven guilty.
Absolutely.
Alleged.
Absolutely. This is all alleged. But I think what I'd rather speak about is the situation.
This is all speculation on our part.
I don't want to speak about each individual business.
No, not at all.
Really, on this. I mean, this is just, we're trying to get some news out, and we'd love to hear verifications on all of these, and so that we can, for sure say yes, that this or no, or actually eliminate these from the list.
I agree.
So it's don't make assumptions about these companies until you hear for real, because it could hurt businesses that are doing a good job.
Yeah, trust me. No, I was actually hearing one because there was a People's Choice.
People's Choice Wellness was on my list.
Was on the list. Yeah, did I miss that one on the list?
I don't know. Yeah.
And everyone kept saying Patient's Choice.
Yeah, totally different company.
Totally different company, and the people who run that are amazing.
Yes.
And they do a lot of hard work, and I was floored at that one.
Yeah.
And
you read it really quick, and
I immediately called the owner and said this, and she said, yeah, she's been getting calls all day because of the name.
Because the name's so similar as Patients or People's. This is People's Choice. That's
why it's exactly super important to make sure these and it's in this industry. You'll know. I mean, there's
so many names are familiar. I mean, really, it's
Green Meds, Green Buds, Green Wellness,
Canamart, Canamed.
It's all wellness, Green Bud, exactly.
Exactly.
I should make one of those little web. I have those little websites where you can just plug your name in and it will give you your gangster name or something like that. And it's just kind of random stuff. We should do one for what's your dispensary name? And it'll be
dispensary name?
Green Wellness Okayness Dispensary Health Love.
Exactly. It's true though. It's true.
So true. It's just a hodgepodge of usually only 10 different kinds of words.
It's kind of like the Vietnamese nail shops where it's best top nail.
Yeah.
And it's and it goes through. When I lived in Colorado Springs, they were everywhere and they all had that kind of name. It's number one top nail. And it's just great adjectives thrown in together.
Yeah. It's kind of, it's not funny. I mean, it's funny, but obviously.
But it makes sense.
Funny.
It's there's a formula, I think. People are
sure.
how can I use green? How can I do this?
How can I do Bud or Med or Wellness or Harmony? And
Exactly. But, let's get back to the topic here for a second here. Look, I don't know. I like I said, I don't think it was surprising that this was happening. Like you said, you started talking about the Cole memo and them coming out and saying, look, as long as you're following regulations, you're not doing mass,
Well, you knew with the Cole memo, when we say this, that was basically the federal government drawing a sort of new line in the sand.
Yes.
It wasn't so as ambiguous.
It's still a little ambiguous.
It wasn't as ambiguous as previous memos. There is at least we had a list.
They shaved some ambiguity off of it.
At least we had a list. At least we had a list to work off of.
That's true.
Some
You're
subject areas to
the
focus
list was
on.
helpful.
It wasn't proximity to schools like you saw in California. This was primarily dealing with diversion issues, drug trafficking issues, any sort of illegal under any form of law,
Well, and I'm assuming that when that Cole memo was written, these places were already under investigation. They were already building the case over a year and a half period of time. I think you mentioned 18 months.
18 months was mentioned in a newspaper article.
Well, and even the MMED had mentioned months ago, even a year ago, they said, look, we are building cases against companies right now. I've heard them say this at like an NCIA meeting once when Laura Harris was at one. At one point they were like, yeah, we're building cases. We're going after places and we're just basically following and building that case and then we will charge them at appropriate time. I find it very, it's so dramatic that they did them all at once. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, do you think that is the tactic there to like show the media, or you think the tactic's there that if like I started doing one or so
I think
here
it's
and there?
because several of these locations are allegedly connected. I think that I mean, like what you had said with like the whole, what is that? How do you spell it? Markaha. Between them, the Cherry Hills location.
Right.
I think those already have ties to VIP. VIP has like about 4 locations. I think they've got 7 or 8 grows. I think.
Yes.
At least 4 or 5 dispensaries.
Yeah.
So that that's part of it, and it looks to me like a lot of these are interconnected. It's sort of like
they
that
are. My
raid,
understanding is Cushism and Golden Goat are connected.
Yeah.
I can't speak about a lot of these other guys, but like the connection from Markaha, my understanding is that they're just in the VIP warehouse and they rent out space there. So that's one of those things that like you can't go ahead and rent.
So instead of like looking at 12 or 13 different companies, it seems it has the appearance of maybe 3 or 4 people with a lot of fingers
everywhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like if all these parties are guilty, they need to be raided. They need to be taken down.
But in the same respect, any MIPs or people that were working with them that had no knowledge of these illegal activities, I hope are sort of insulated from any kind of retail charges.
I hope they're vindicated if their names are mentioned.
I mean, like if it's not really fair that if you're making concentrates for somebody and then they go and sell it on the street, like you shouldn't be busted for that. Like your responsibility should end the minute the product leaves your hands.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I really hope people like, again, for these people who happen to be like either working in these warehouses or even just selling product to some of these dispensaries, that hopefully they are not caught up in this. To me, that would be an unfortunate miscarriage.
Well, and that would be like, I mean, honestly, to put a decent parallel, I guess, on alcohol is like, okay, so I'm a liquor distributor and I sold your bar, some alcohol wholesale legally, and then you went and illegally sold it to minors, and then all of a sudden I'm going to get charged for it. That's the way I look at some of these,
Yeah, and so hopefully, a lot of these people can walk away with this with maybe, unfortunately, maybe a loss of product or something like that.
Well, and that's what's going to happen is no matter what, if your name is on the list, most likely you just got hit financially just because of this raid.
Yeah, and that sucks. And that's the part that sucks. And that is why I have no sympathy for anyone here in that list who is breaking the law, and I have no problem with
absolutely agree.
And this is something I've been getting in an argument with some people on Facebook for, and you know who you are, and you're more than welcome to call into the show. Ooh. But I have no sympathy for them. They are spitting in the face of those businesses who have worked very hard to operate and comply within regulations that abide by the law, as financially difficult as it is, with having no banking, with having, no tracking system, with having, a poorly ran audit system that needs more funding right now. So and those people are still busting their ass to be as compliant and as honest as possible. Yeah. And then to like have these people, to have other operators out there doing illegal things, whether they're selling out the back door, whether they're creating like shell companies so they can move money around and avoid taxes, whether they're trafficking other illegal drugs or they're selling to minors, whatever it is, allegedly, whatever it is, I don't feel sorry for them because they are putting the entire system at risk.
Yes.
And they're abusing the process that patients, the advocates, the lawyers, that the voters of Colorado worked very hard to put into place. Yeah. And to me, that's like the greatest travesty. Like, I could really give a fuck that the feds are like kicking in people's doors. Like, if they're breaking the law, they're breaking the law. If they're breaking the law, they're breaking the law.
If they're breaking the law, they're breaking the law.
Then I care.
I get it. But, there are a lot of people that are just upset that the feds are even doing what they're doing.
I get it. But you need to like look at the situation. And you need to look at what's involved here. I mean, if it's being done in conjunction with local authorities, which means it wasn't the local government saying, whoa, you told us you were gonna like leave people alone.
No, I would assume that the local government is, recognizing like they're presented the case of what this investigation is
or
going
maybe
on.
the government.
They've been working together the whole time.
It could even be this local government approached the feds and said, these are people that we can't get under control.
That is a possibility.
Which is a possibility, too.
Again, today is going to be just a day of speculation.
It's all speculation.
We really have to be clear, let everybody know
exactly.
that we're just, because it's too soon and we don't know enough about it.
We do know that this was done with local authorities. We do know that the IRS was involved as well, which to me, that's why I bring up things like money laundering and shell corporations, because that's what the IRS does.
Well, yeah, we do know that. Now, I'm curious to see if the IRS has been in every single one of these locations, or is there just specific ones? You know what I mean? It's like, again, we don't have all the details, and the big one they seem to be focusing on right now, at least the news is focusing on, it seems to be VIP. I just they're the ones that kind of are all over the place.
That makes me sad. I like Gerardo.
Gerardo, I don't know if I ever.
He's one of the owners.
Yeah,
he's really nice.
Well, and that's the thing is, a lot of these guys are nice guys too, but they're making bad choices.
I know, and that makes me mad. Like, you shouldn't be.
So come on, man.
I know.
Come on.
Why are you guys doing this?
Well, and I think that's one of the things that, like, this speaks to me about is like, we have to recognize, that we're not all perfect in the cannabis industry.
Yes.
But we do have to, like, as a group, kind of go after the ones that are kind of fucking it up for everybody else, and be like, look, man, you need to keep yourself in check. There's certain things that you got to recognize that we just shouldn't be doing just yet, or shouldn't be doing at all ever.
It's like you could be at a concert venue
right.
with like a bunch of friends, okay?
Yeah.
And if one of your friends gets just really fucking drunk and is a loud, obnoxious asshole, and then he bum rushes the stage, and you all get kicked out for it,
yeah.
It's not, hey, that's what happens when you like travel with the asshole, but you should have been holding that. I mean, like, that's what happens, and it sucks. And it's suck. That one guy's all fault, and everyone suffers for it. And that's why we should be directing our anger at those people and not at.
Well, I think we direct our anger to them once we know for sure that they did this.
Yes.
I really do. I have to say that because, in social media today, things like the way rumors can spread like wildfire. Can actually destroy a good business. That's true. I think it's super important. I mean, it's going to be like a broken record today that I say that, but I think it has to be reiterated to people out there. Just like, got to reserve some judgment till we see like the actual facts of every individual case.
It's just unfortunate, and it's obviously not the reputation that Colorado wants, but
at the same point,
it's a purging.
But at the same point, isn't it? I mean, if you look at it as from like a more macro level than a micro level, and say, okay, well, it's not what we want in the industry to see happen, but isn't it better for the industry that we're doing this cleansing or doing these kind of things now?
I was just gonna,
it's just I think it's better to get rid of this any bad apples
any
that
alleged
there may be.
Proven bad actors.
Proven bad
actors, and because they will spoil the whole bunch.
Exactly.
And we have worked way too hard and fought way too long for the whole system to go down because people can't respect regulation. Mm-hmm. And this is something I've been saying today, which is if you can't. If certain businesses can't respect regulation, how can we expect, the enforcement individuals to respect legalization?
Well, and it's funny to me. I still have to say this: like, if you were operating illegally, how did you think you were gonna get away with it? You're already on a list, man. You're already licensed. They're already looking at you. They're gonna pay attention to what you're doing on a regular basis. And the people who are operating within the bounds of the regulations know this. They assume they're always being watched, whether they are or not, and they always operate on a professional level. So how are you not expecting this to happen? I think that's the point. Is if you're guilty of this as a company, how did you not know? I mean,
right.
You had to have figured.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, and then I have a hard time feeling sorry for you. I really do.
I know.
I mean, I'm probably the nicest people in the world. Actually, I know some of them are, and it sucks that that. It sucks. It sucks all the way around, but like you said, it's a necessary cleansing.
But, there's something I do want to speak about this I know we have to go on a break. We've been going for a little bit. So let's go on a break, and then I want to kind of take what you just said, but go on a different direction as far as the conversation.
All right.
Independent Records and Videos has been your locally owned and operated choice for music, movies, and lifestyle accessories since 1978. Independent Records and Videos has 7 locations from Denver to Colorado Springs to Pueblo to serve your entertainment needs. Whether it's vinyl, CDs, DVDs, books, smoking accessories, or hundreds of other fun and fanciful items, Independent is ready and waiting to make your dreams come true. We are always buying, selling, and trading vinyl, CDs, books, and DVDs, so sell yours and buy ours. Independent Records and Videos, your entertainment headquarters. Check us out at beindependent.com or on Facebook.
Indispensary in Colorado Springs is proud to support Overgrow the Radio. With 2 locations in Colorado Springs, Indispensary invites you to discover what true selection and values feel like. Always featuring an incredible array of Stanley Brothers medicine as well as full line of edible and infused products. Indispensary is open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week, 364 days a year. You owe it to your health and well-being to discover Indispensary. Westside location at 3044 West Colorado and Eastside location at 3031 East Platte in Colorado Springs. Indispensary is your destination for indispensable quality medicine.
High up in the Rockies is beautiful Frisco, Colorado. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies is a medical marijuana center with compassion for Colorado's medical patients. Looking for great meds grown organically in soil? You've come to the right place. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies is just off I-70 at exit 203. Check them out at the web at www.mmrockies.com. Their ever-changing strain and clone selection is updated on the website daily. When making a trip to the mountains, no matter the season, stop by Medical Marijuana of the Rockies. Make sure you say you heard about them on iCannabis Radio. You can call 970-668-MEDS to get more information. Medical Marijuana of the Rockies, your mountain source for meds.
Cannapunch is a delicious and effective medical marijuana beverage proudly made right here in Colorado. Each bottle is freshly infused with 100% pure flower extract from the highest grade marijuana plants available today. Using proprietary extraction methods, every bottle of Cannapunch is consistently and reliably infused with an exact milligram dosage that you can count on to relieve your symptoms each and every time. Cannapunch is delicious. There's never any medicine-y taste. We use only 100% cannabis flowers. No trim or byproducts are ever used in Cannapunch. It does not require refrigeration and comes in convenient resealable multi-dose bottles from 60 milligrams to 200 milligrams. We have drinks with dosage that works best for you. Cannapunch is available in a variety of delicious flavors like black cherry, watermelon, pineapple mango, and blue raspberry. And we now have strain-specific beverages available just for you. Cannapunch is delicious, convenient, consistent, and effective. Give it a try and experience the Cannapunch difference.
All right, we are back, guys. So, when we left the break, we were talking about, bad business practices and why people kind of deserve to get in this. But do you think, Sam, that some of these businesses might make the argument that they felt they were forced into the black market due to the fact that they couldn't, or maybe it was made easier for them to be put into the black market actually because of banking regulations and the fact that they're not able to keep track of their product. It made it harder for them to do it. So they're operating with a cash only business already.
Yeah. Of course. That's a legitimate concern. These businesses really are put in a rock and a hard place. Yet, somehow, there are plenty of businesses that manage to make it work.
Oh my God.
And it's the same thing with caregivers, too. There's plenty of caregivers that say, well, I'm forced to sell illegally on the black market. I'm forced to do that. I'm seeing a Facebook comment on it right now. It's just making my eyes roll. No one forces you to break the law. I'm sorry, but if your only creative business strategy is to do illegal things, then maybe you shouldn't be in that business. I understand a love for the industry, but maybe you should wait 10 years. Wait 10 years until every other state comes on board and a lot of these laws and regulations loosen up, and then you can enter the business. To sit there and say that, that by then it'll be too late, that's like saying that there's no such thing as a successful craft brewery while Coors exists or Budweiser
No,
exists.
I agree with you on that, but I do think that 10 or 15 years from now, it's still going to require a very significant investment to come into
Sure,
the
there might
industry.
be a significant investment, but I
You
think
can't jump in, you can't bootstrap a dispenser anymore like you could 5 years ago.
You will, though, once all these other states come online, because once, one of the things people also, seem to forget is that we're sort of in an economic bubble here in Colorado. And I think part of the problem is this bubble. We forget that there's several other states, 30 or so states that still don't allow for medical cannabis, let alone the 48 other states that don't allow for adult use cannabis. Okay.
Yeah.
So, it's you're operating on very slim margins already as it is. And
True.
so if you can't afford it, even though it's your passion, and I understand that. Like, everyone wants to do their passion, and it is fucked up. Everyone should be allowed to do their passion, and people should be allowed to make a business in this industry. And that is why we have to push even harder for change on a federal level. And I will never disagree with that. I will never disagree with the absolute wrongness of cannabis being illegal on another level. But until we can get it legal in other states or get it legal on a federal level, that's just going to be the consequence of these actions.
Sure.
But once these other states come online, natural economics is going to come into play. And like, people will drop licensing fees and they'll drop prices to entice businesses. This is how states operate.
Well, you're absolutely right. And I think that's one of the things that we talked about in the past about Proposition AA. When that tax increase passed, one of the arguments was like, look, there's going to come a point when other states are going to do this, and they're most likely not going to tax it higher than we're taxing it. In fact, they may very well start taxing it lower to be more competitive against us if they're neighboring states. And then we're going to have to bring our tax down to be competitive. So, I think that you're absolutely right when you say that. I think, as it expands.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've proven that nothing is written in stone now anymore. I think we've proven that change is possible, change is inevitable. It's coming at a turtle's pace, but just because it's not coming at the pace that's fast enough for you doesn't excuse your right to continue to break the law.
I think change is more like an avalanche kind of thing. It's like it builds up, and then all of a sudden, that extra like snow or just a little bit of heat comes in, and it just kind of...
We're still right on that precipice.
You think so?
Yeah, I think we're still... it's still an uphill battle. It's still an uphill battle right now, but I think like in a few years, like in 2016 as a presidential election, that's going to be huge. You're going to see a lot of statewide initiatives, I think.
Well, and I think that's it. I think because it's a political kind of landscape when it comes to this issue. I don't think I think in 2016 we're going to see a major shift, and I think that's when you'll actually eventually see that whole avalanche and the snowball effect. But I think the signs are already there. The people, cannabis is more popular than the president of the United States right now.
Yeah.
And easily more popular than Congress.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like... I think its time has already come. There's more and more law enforcement officials coming out just saying, yeah, whatever. Like we talked about this story last week, I think. The judge who like spoke out against this penalty he had to do for this one guy. He was dealing cannabis to a federal official. Okay, so yeah, he made a mistake there, brother. But it was also his third offense. And he had a gun in a gun safe that was locked in his house.
That sucks.
But because there was a gun present at the time of this transaction, he was getting like 55 years in jail for an ounce of marijuana. And like the judge is like, this is absolutely ridiculous. There was obviously no intention for the gun to be used, and this is really just a minor drug offense, and you're going to give this guy 55 years in jail. It's like that's like saying I have a gun for home defense. I've never whipped it out. I've never pulled, go to a target range or whatever, but it's locked up. That means I never have an intention of using that gun unless I absolutely had to. Well, that doesn't mean that it's like a part of a drug deal. You know what I mean? It's like it's such a ridiculous ruling.
Yeah. Let's be clear about something and what I'm trying to articulate and say here. Yes, our drug laws in this country are fucked up. They are so stupid. They are egregiously punitive.
Yes.
They are life destroying, and it sucks. It sucks. However, there's also like I am a believer in choice, and there's a difference between like people who possess drugs and people who are like selling it to make a living. There's a slight difference. And if you're and the second thing I want to say, because someone was giving me shit about it on Facebook, when I say drugs, I'm talking about the substances that are illegal on federal level. So whether it's cocaine, meth, heroin, all this stuff, like we're not going to be talking about how obviously cannabis is like is not dangerous the way like cocaine or meth or something are.
Not at all.
That it's completely safe, and yes, it's being completely treated like shit for no reason. That being said, we're talking about legality here. We are just talking. This is just operating within the law. We're not talking about ideologue. We're talking about pragmatism.
Right.
So the pragmatism issue here is that if you want to, if you're lucky enough to live in Colorado and to start a marijuana business in Colorado, but let's say, unfortunately enough, you just can't succeed. I mean, like 95% of small businesses fail. That's just a fact. It doesn't matter if it's a cannabis business or not. That's just like a statistical inevitability in our country.
True.
That's just every business, like it's just how it is. And like, I know it's an ugly fact and we can argue. I mean, that's, we won't argue why, but that's just a fact as it is. So to sit there and assume that like, that these businesses fail because they just couldn't make it. Now, none of them like resorted to like being illegal just to make it. That's cheating. If you have to cheat to make it, you deserve to fail. That's just as simple as it is. Simple as it is. And I understand the argument about being forced into it because of like, no banking and like maybe like overly burdensome regulations. And people are fighting to change that. That's the change that I talk about is slow. The avalanche of cannabis becoming legal is coming and is coming fast. But the regulations, I mean, that takes a while to like whittle into a place that's acceptable. Again, I always like to look at alcohol. We always say regulate like alcohol. Look at alcohol. Alcohol, we couldn't buy liquor on a Sunday here 3 years ago.
That's true.
Okay.
The blue laws.
Which is like a crazy law. But that's just one of those laws that they have.
No, if you want liquor, you had to go to church and receive communion. That's how you got your wine.
Can I have another one, Father?
Please.
Thank you.
Christ.
Sip that wine, yeah. And so I just have a hard time. I do, especially when there's so many businesses, no matter what their business is. Mm-hmm. Whether it's selling widgets, whether it's selling cannabis, whether it's selling cars, there are so many businesses out there that do what they do to be legit, to operate within the system, mm-hmm. and they bust their ass, and they bleed, and they sweat, and they cry over it. Mm-hmm. And those businesses, even those ones who do it honestly, sometimes fail. And I don't think it's fair to use it as an excuse. Well, it was just too hard, so I had to break the law. No, because there are plenty of other people out there who are operating within the law and who are successful.
Well, and the one thing I want to say is this whole bus today, I don't think this bus was like a witch hunt or anything like that. I'm pretty sure that most of the businesses that have been operating squeaky clean are sitting back and going, and not sitting there worried about themselves. They're just all like, well, good. I'm glad that this is happening. A lot of these business owners are like, thank you. Get rid of the bad apples.
Even in the Denver Post, they've said, there's a few business owners being quoted that say, we want this because we want to get rid of the bad actors.
Exactly.
We should all want to get rid of the bad actors. We already have a bad enough reputation from, years of reefer madness and, prohibitionist propaganda on just the plant. Mm-hmm. And now, and then there was drug dealing involved. And so all this stuff, like we already have a bad enough reputation as an industry and as a community that we have to overcome. Like we should want to get rid of the people that encourage that bad reputation.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
So
time for a break yet? All right.
Yeah. Is it?
I don't know.
You've been spouting. You've been going on your, I'm just letting you roll. You're fired up today. I like it. I like it.
Well, listen, it's one thing to, you just dropped your whole microphone. Look what he did. I wish we'd caught that on the camera. Did we catch that on the camera? Oh, that's some bullshit. I mean, this is what I'll say, David. Raids suck. The raids that happened in California sucked.
Yes, they do.
Those were people who weren't probably doing anything wrong. They just happened to be too close to a school or whatever it was. Like those kinds of raids suck. And I'm not saying they don't happen. And yeah, that really sucks when that happens. But legitimate raids for people who are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just laughing because my microphone just keeps falling down.
I know. I feel like I'm watching like the Special Needs Olympics right now.
It's really kind of it's getting comical now.
Are you okay?
I'm trying to. It's not tightening.
You got it?
I got it.
Are you all right?
Kind of got it.
You need some help?
No, I'm good.
Do we need to call the feds?
No, keep going. You were doing great. It's like I'm not even here actually, except for
it is too.
Unless I pratfall something and drop a microphone.
You're just sad because it's usually you who goes off on the.
No, I like this. This is great. It's you're just fired up, and I like that.
Well, I'll just.
Is there anything else going on besides this right now?
Yeah, we're having
I was just wondering.
Maybe, should we talk about that when we get back at a break?
I think we should talk about when we get back.
Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff coming up. I mean, obviously, we'll still talk about the raids, and if anyone wants to call in and disagree with me, I'm all fired up. I'm ready.
We want. Like she's itching for a fight right now.
I'm itching for a fight right now because I just can't. I think that myself and a lot of other people more than me actually, have been fighting really hard for legitimacy. And I don't like to see their hard work shat all upon, or just to think that like, just because, like, yeah, I understand the federal government sucks, the DEA sucks. I think we can all agree on that. Like, of course, we don't want like a DEA agency. That would be my dream, of course. But while there is one, I think we have to be a little bit respectful and understand that, again, just because like these raids aren't happening isn't necessarily because the DEA sucks. It could also be because people are breaking the law and maybe they deserve to get their business shut down. But allegedly.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, it's all alleged, but I mean, you're right. I mean, they deserve it. They deserve it. I think let's go on a quick break and then let's finish off the show and talk about
happier news.
Let's talk about some happy news. I think we should.
We'll come back with some hempy news.
Yeah, some good things are happening in hemp.
Hemperific.
All right.
Hi, Josh Stanley here from National Geographic's American Wheat. I'm here with my brothers, and we've just recently put together a foundation in Colorado to allow for cancer patients and other patients of debilitating conditions to be able to get a hold of cannabis-based oil that's just about free of charge. I've just about had it with seeing sick patients suffer needlessly just because they can't afford the proper medication. That's what the Realm of Caring is going to change. Visit therealmofcaring.com. The website will be complete and up on 4/20 of 2012. But until then, please contact any of us Stanley brothers directly through email. You can get us at gratefuljosh@hotmail.com. Now come on, Colorado. We need to take care of each other. Join the Realm. That's realmofcaring.com. Thank you so much.
Let's face it, rules and regulations are complicated, especially in the field of medical marijuana. Let Medical Marijuana 101 help you get through the compliance process. We can also explain to you your employment requirements, your employees, and your business. But our work doesn't stop there. Our experience in cultivation ranges from the design of grow rooms to the diagnosis and resolution of grow problems. Visit us at www.medicalmarijuana101.com or call 303-388-7706. That's 303-388-7706. Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. Runongrass.com.
Are you a medical marijuana patient or interested in finding out how to become one? Contact Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. Conveniently located on Hamden and Tamarack in the Whole Foods parking lot behind Proof of the Pudding. Mile High Wellness offers a wide variety of edibles, hashes, and some of Colorado's top strains. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern. 3525 South Tamarack, Suite 110, on the corner of Hamden and Tamarack. 720-382-8516. Mile High Wellness, where your care is our concern.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
All right, we're back.
Hi. What's going on?
All right, so we've been rambling a lot about the raid, and again, if anybody wants to call in, go to the number. It's right on the screen in front of you, and call in and pipe in on this and give us some info if you have any.
Not pipe in.
Pipe in.
Nah.
But otherwise, we're going to move on to some hemp news because Samantha has some hemp news.
In Fort Collins at the Old Town Library on Monday at 11:30, Congressman Jared Polis will be holding a hemp forum. So anyone in that area, I encourage you to go. I think he's going to be talking about what, the work he's been doing on a federal level, the Farm Bill, and what we've been doing here on a state level. So that's going to be great. I'm also trying to put together another similar forum, although on a much larger scale, for Adams County, which will be interested. So if anyone wants to participate in that, email David at david@thcmag.com, and he will forward me your contact information.
I love that you don't give out your email. You just give out mine. Here you go,
Not
guys.
today. I think today after my rant.
What happened?
I don't want a bunch of hate mail.
Did you lose the wind beneath
You're
your
a
wings
shill
there?
I mean,
are you not you're not in a fighting mood anymore?
I could just see now. You're a shill for the feds. Oh my god! I've already
during the break. She got hate mail already during the break.
I already got.
Off.
Oh my gosh! I've got. There's this one person who's just like a total asshole. who is like harassing me. Like it's just like one of those like crazy, like
and
crazy
you know who
people.
you are.
You know who you are. It's probably not the one who thinks that I'm talking about that person, but the other person.
They don't know that.
They know who I am, or they know who they are. They know who I am.
You're
too.
making no sense.
Anyways, I'm probably not. I've already dealt with like enough crazy people. I'm like, I don't need any more angry. Like, you're shit for the feds. Da-da-da. No, I am somebody who operates in pragmatism and reality. And I support good, honest businesses. I support good, honest business practices. I support those who want this industry to succeed. And I support cannabis in general. So you can disagree with me, you can say you don't, but we can go have fisticuffs outside. I ain't a scared.
So what's going on in hemp again?
What's going on in hemp again? You're the one who brought it up.
I did.
I told it Adams County.
Adams County.
Adams
Thank you.
County wants to do a
So
big
now,
farm.
what are you guys gonna? What is your goal at the forum when you do these?
Like I said, for Congressman Polis, it's to I think inform people what's going on a federal and.
But I mean, I'm talking about the Adams
County
one. 'Cause you said you're putting that
I
together.
think they want to bring in a bunch of very hemp experts into from around the state and country to like sort of educate the farmers, other local officials, community members about the hemp industry, where the opportunities are. So it's sort of like that, just it's not so much like discussion about like policy issues. I think this is going to be more economic and industry opportunities for people like who I think they want to explain to people like how they can get involved, what would take to farm, what it would take to process and manufacture, that kind of thing, because it's still a new economy.
Well, yeah. Now, are there people out there in the processing and manufacturing side of things that are like starting to get to work on this? I mean, obviously we need the farmers to grow it, but they don't want to. It's almost a chicken and egg kind of thing. Do you grow the product and it's like and then the manufacturers will come, or do you build the plant first and the farmers will grow the product for them?
There's two problems. One is the seed issue, of course, getting enough seed here. We're going to run a legislative fix next session that's going to allow for, I don't know why this wasn't in the last, it's just a small fix, but we're gonna fix it this session, but it's going to allow for seed stock to be grown inside, right? For some reason, it was only R&D outdoors.
Oh, seed stock can't be grown inside right now?
It's R&D stuff. I mean, you can grow seed stock indoors. I don't think there was an express purpose for growing. I think one of the reasons was there was some sort of hesitation about people growing marijuana, and saying it was hemp and growing it inside. So I think it was sort of one of those like overly protective things where they just didn't, there was like, oh, what about So just like a small error, easy to fix. Should be a breeze. We're gonna get it through before the March deadline. And then people can start promulgating some seed stock here in Colorado, which will help alleviate a lot of the seed problems.
Isn't there a way to like speed this process up? Because you said that'll be, you'll be able to get that fixed in March. But, that means we're missing an entire like growth cycle for seed stock over the winter. Like, isn't there a way to say, well, if it's going to be fixed in March, you can have a temporary license to kind of grow it indoors and then kind of, just something to kind of get this thing going. I think, here's the deal. I'm just impatient. I already know it's going to take 5 to 10 years to really get this industry going. And I'm like, okay, 5 to 10 years. So let's start now so that we're at 5 years and 10 years faster. I guess that's my thing is like,
I know.
I'm impatient.
And, another part of it though is maybe while we're growing the seed stock, then we can start growing the manufacturing at the same time. I know there's a lot of activity going on right now. We are looking at we are examining a few ways that maybe the state can incentivize some of that economic development, which would be great, for business, whether it's a use tax credit for people who are creating and processing, hemp building materials, which is one I'm looking at in particular. So,
well, yeah, we're working on something pretty big.
Well, I have no vested interest in this bill at all, David.
No. But when you say vested interest, it's more of a passion thing. You're not looking. It's not for money. I mean, Samantha is spearheading the nonprofit Healing Homes.
Yes.
And I'm kind of working with her to do the first fundraising event, as the Hemp Connoisseur magazine will be the host for the Black and White Gala at Castleman's Barn venue this New Year's. And it's going to be a fundraising event to raise money for Healing Homes. And what is Healing Homes' goal?
Healing Homes' goal is to build homes out of hemp material. Probably primarily would be for now the insulation to be made out of the hempcrete, the lime and the hemp hurd. But ultimately we would love to even build, the entire house out of hemp, because hemp is a fire resistant material as well as mold and pest resistant. And we would love to donate these homes to people who have lost their homes in the wildfires, people who will lose homes in the wildfires. I think, without sounding too pessimistic, I think these wildfires are sort of a inevitability over the next few years.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep happening. So it's like,
God hoping that like no one else ever has to lose another home ever again. But we sort of want to be like the Habitat for Humanity, but for hemp. You know what I mean?
And I think there's also hemp paint that's kind of being developed. Well, there's hemp stain right now.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see hemp paint because that's also fire resistant, or at least if it's done.
Well, that's how the idea came about. There was a home in Colorado Springs that was painted with fire resistant paint. And it happened to escape the Black Forest fire unscathed, which, you might think, it's because it had a good perimeter. No, it's because, a lot of these things keep the perimeter as tight as you want. It's the ash. And when the ash flies, and these sparks land on it, things go up in flames. Right. So, and the heat, too. Even when the fires get close, just that heat will, burn up that wood. Sure. And so we would like to be able to mitigate as much property loss as we can, and as well as maybe sort of help make whole people who've experienced really bad loss,
Yes.
I mean, that's why it's healing homes, because we all know hemp heals you.
Yeah.
We all know that hemp, that the hemp seeds are the most nutritious seeds, that wearing hemp makes you feel better, that using hemp body products, they're not toxic, they make you, they make your skin nicer, they make your hair shine, all that stuff. We all know, when you eat the hemp, you feel better. It's a healing plant. I think we all know that. The medicinal cannabis side, as well as the nutritious hemp side. I think we all know its healing properties. But now we want to also heal people sort of spiritually a little bit. We want to help make them whole. People who've experienced horrible loss. So losing your home sucks.
It does.
Getting cancer sucks, and it does. But now here's another thing where we hear how this plant can help people.
Yeah.
Here's another way we can now give people homes. Sorry, I know I'm on a tirade.
No, I love it. But I agree. I mean, that's one of the things I love about doing this event coming up in New Year's is because look, the cannabis industry is going to be able to get together and celebrate the end of prohibition and all that they've accomplished. But while they're celebrating it, they're giving back to the community and here in Colorado, and at the same time helping the fledgling hemp industry kind of get a little bit of a foothold and get a little bit of momentum. It's like a win-win-win situation for everybody. And we
hope to get a lot of sponsors from it. I know
we do hope to get a lot of sponsors on it. Yeah, we've been
business
speaking
owners.
a lot. We're going to be sending out a nice mass email to actually this evening and going after a lot of the owners in the industry to try to get them to come on board with this because it's going to be a fun event. I mean, this is a way to have your holiday party in a black tie kind of affair, which you don't get to party like that often.
I know. I can't wait to wear a flapper dress. I'm so excited.
I want to wear a flapper dress.
But who I actually met the other day was Tony Boudin, who is building hemp homes already in South Africa.
Oh, wow.
And so, I have an extended invitation. We're talking. So it would be nice we're going to hopefully collaborate with his organization, which would be amazing.
That would be awesome.
Oh, my gosh. That would be a dream come true. I would love to also there's so many hemp industries. I would love to bring all the little hemp industries to be able to contribute something. So whether they can donate, curtains or, their hemp curtains that they make or if they build houses to come help, eventually we're going to get to a point that once we have, our plans drawn up, once we have, once we have building materials approved, because that's another thing that's actually pretty crucial is to make sure that these building materials fit into local building codes. So that's going to take a while. I mean, as much as I would love to build a home in March and be able to donate it, this is
it's going to be a long process.
Yeah, this is a marathon project, but I think it's a worthy project. Hopefully, a lot of this initial set of money is going to be used to sort of start spurring the research and development on and getting these building materials approved.
Yes.
So
it is already internationally recognized, though, and
it is.
And I did hear from somebody actually recently that
it is.
because it's internationally recognized, there's ways to kind of get that taken care of here.
We've been researching that.
Yeah.
It is very interesting. So
we may be able to get it done a little faster
and
than we anticipated.
Exactly. But I think the biggest thing though is not only where you build it, but you have to, like, wherever you build it, like, you have to have the local authorities' approval.
Yes.
So that's part of it. Obviously, finding a family to work with, and then we really want to start building a volunteer network. Just think about, like, 1 day a week where people do this all the time for Habitat for Humanity, and they just, like, you get 30 people together and they put a home up in a whole day, and that's my goal. Like, in 10 years, like, I would love this charity to be Habitat for Humanity. Hempatat for Hempmanity. Is that too many hemp puns?
It is way too many hemp puns. We're just so full of puns in the marijuana, like the marijuana and the hemp industry, aren't we?
And anyways, I would love to be building like dozens of hemp homes, a week.
Yes.
Across the country for people who need it,
Well, and I think that's the idea. Maybe at some point, it's just the idea that we're replacing homes with hemp. We're doing so many things at once there. We're helping the hemp industry get going, which as the bigger the hemp industry grows, the better our economy is going to be in the United States and the better our environment is going to be. And at the same point, we're basically helping people build houses with hemp that can become like carbon neutral.
Oh yeah, I would love for all these all these homes to have solar paneling, LED lighting, the whole green 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it's not just going to be a cannabis community exclusive
right.
sort of charity project. There's gonna be a lot of outreach,
right?
Down the road with solar companies, other green companies, lighting companies, interior, everybody.
It's just in my opinion, and it's like hats off to Habitat for Humanity for doing what they've done. Although I've heard they've come under some a little bit of under fire recently.
I plan not to be corrupt for at least like 40 years.
There you go. But hats off to them for doing what they've done. But it's like now to me, it's like no matter what you're doing, if you're rebuilding a home, if you're not doing it with the mind of making it a modern, like environmentally friendly home, carbon neutral, renewable energy usage, then in my opinion, you're just wasting resources.
Well, part of it is though, it sort of ties back to the question you gave me earlier, which is we have to make it economically feasible though people to do this.
You're absolutely right. I agree.
And so if there's only a few boutique people and niche, businesses doing hemp, it makes it harder for, makes the product more expensive, which
it does,
and we want a booming, robust hemp industry here. Right. So, that's why we're looking at sort of what can we do to spur this, give it like a little bit of a push, so if it's, use tax credits for, building hemp material or, manufacturing and processing hemp materials, or if it's, the reverse of that, if you buy a home made with hemp materials, you sort of get an income tax deduction like you do when you buy a hybrid. Like, these are the possibilities. If you have any ideas that you think would be great legislation to spur the hemp industry, go ahead and email David at thcmag.com. That's David at thcmag.com. But we welcome all sorts of advice. This is the one issue that...
And they will immediately be forwarded to Samantha. No, I'm not even going to say it. I don't even know your email off the top of my head. I can find it in like 2 seconds.
Please don't. But yeah, that's the goal, is to have this accessible and affordable to everybody, to be building a robust industry here in Colorado and then eventually in other states. I'd prefer Colorado, of course, but and I think as well to like continue into the tradition of the cannabis plant, which is healing people.
It is.
It is.
It is. Do you hear? Okay, so we're reporting on this in the next issue of the Hemp Connoisseur coming in December, but there's Mormon moms for marijuana.
I know. It makes me want to move back to Utah.
No, it doesn't. Because
no.
Here's the thing. I got to commend them for it. So I'm like, no, it doesn't. Let me tell you why. This mother, and I'm going to screw up the name. I'll probably screw up the name in a second because I don't have it in front of me on my computer. But she first of all saw the special American Weed with the Stanley brothers and talking about Charlotte's Web, and and her son has Duvet syndrome as well. just like Charlotte does with CBD oil, and it was helping her with the, what it is, for those of you who don't know, is it's like a multiple seizure disorder where, children can have it where they get like up to 200 seizures a day.
Yeah.
And CBD oil has been proven to knock those down to like two a week or 2 a month, or, it's ridiculous. And it allows these children to have lives. But the medicine that they usually are given, the pharmaceuticals, also have awful side effects where the kids can't even function.
Yeah.
So anyway, this mother, saw the Sanjay Gupta special on this and was basically convinced. And so she's decided to start working towards getting her son having this. Now, she's a devout Mormon. And so what she's decided to do, and I'd love to hear people's opinions on this, what she's decided to do is they said, okay, well, since it's a high CBD oil and very low THC, they were like, we want to change the name of this oil. They want to call it Alspecia or Alepsia, which has something to do with, it's like translation in another language that has something to do with seizure
Probably
or something
epilepsy,
like that. Yeah. Epilepsy, I think it might be, yeah. And so they wanted to change the name of the oil and then have the government, the legislators in Utah vote to allow this medicine into Utah to help children. And it's like, part of me is like, okay, that's great. I'm glad that you're using whatever strategy you can to have this medicine passed over. But I do feel, is there a little bit of disingenuousness to this by changing the name of something? It's still cannabis.
Yeah.
They're just saying, well, we're going to call it something different.
I think it's sort of just a logical fallacy on this mom's part. Like, I understand, the Mormon. I grew up in Utah. I understand the Mormon religion, I think, pretty well. Mm-hmm. And and I understand, the abstention from drugs and alcohol and all that stuff. I think what they need to change is the church's mind on it, which would help actually a lot in Utah. Mm-hmm. And they need to have the church understand that cannabis isn't an illicit drug. It's, it's medicine.
Well, and I guess that's my question, because I commend her for trying to legalize it over there. I really do. And I guess she's gaining some wind, which is great. And I congratulate her if she wins this victory. But at the same point, to me, it feels like we've always fought for cannabis rights with the truth. And we haven't denied what it is,
right? Yeah,
and I think that's the only note of contention I have with her in this matter is like that she's kind of coming out and saying, "Well, it's not cannabis. We're not going to call it cannabis." And it's like, but it is. It's still cannabis, And it's like I don't like the denial. It's like you're already denying something, and while you're taking it in.
I get it from like a point of trying to be sort of legislatively clever. And politically clever, and they'll say like, look, it's sort of like if you have like an extract of, oh Jesus, I probably couldn't even think of an analogy, but like, maybe like chocolate and cocaine or something, the cocoa plant or something. I don't know. I can't think of a good analysis on this, but it's. I'm just trying to think. Like, I need time to process this, David. Don't just laugh at me.
No, I'm not. But I think it's an interesting one.
Like they're trying to say, look, we're just talking about a derivative of the plant, and we're not, So instead of calling it the whole plant, this is just like a small specialized derivative. Mm-hmm. I get it, sort of like. Maybe they're sort of looking at it as like you don't really call milk a cow. It's just something that comes from the cow.
Maybe.
And
it feels to me like but you do call it.
There's my analogy. Milk.
But you will call it cow's milk.
Right, but you could say like.
Just like you would say this is a concentrate, like is a cannabis concentrate.
Right,
or whatever,
if you're eating milk, you don't say I'm eating cow, right?
True.
Or you're drinking milk, you don't say I'm eating cow.
True.
So, and then like if you
vegetarians
have a glass of milk, you don't necessarily own a cow. You just like purchase the milk.
Yeah.
So
the cow is the plant in this standpoint.
I would say I would say that's how she's sort of trying to define it.
Yeah.
You're talking about something that's just produced from the entire product. This is just a small specialized derivative, and I sort of get that. So it's like saying we won't allow cows in Utah, but you can definitely bring milk in.
Well, honestly, I feel like here's what I think it is, and you already know my email if you have an issue with it. So you don't have to
David at tcmag.com.
But I think this is a way to try to justify or some wiggle room because, being selfish as a mom, she wants to take care of her kid. And absolutely, I would be the same way.
Absolutely.
But she's also trying to find a way to toe the line on her religion at the same time. And it feels like this is like one of those ways that you're trying to kind of like sneak it through. Because if you call it cannabis, would it be considered? It's considered a drug. But come on, you still know it is. But you're really, like I said, it's like she's being out of integrity both ways with her religious beliefs and with what cannabis is.
Listen, this is the other funny
Please
thing.
call and complain about that.
I mean, it's not like people in Utah don't take antibiotics or take like acetaminophen or ibuprofen or echinacea or other things that. I mean, echinacea is a mood elevator a little bit, you know.
Oh yeah. Well.
There's. I think the change, she would be better inclined to maybe sort of make the changes with inside the church if it's an abstention issue with like all this is an illegal drug, and then work on like having the state of Utah come on board with growing medicinal.
But at
cannabis.
the same point, she also did go. She said she didn't believe in medicinal cannabis. She contradicts herself in the article. It was very interesting. She actually went out and said, I think that no medical cannabis regulations have worked anywhere, which I don't know what she was based on that opinion. But then she's commended the Colorado medical cannabis and the Stanley Brothers because it provided her with CBD oil to try on her kid. So it was like at the same point you said it's not working, but if it wasn't working, then the Stanley Brothers couldn't do what they do.
Well, it's definitely not going to work if you don't push it, change in your own state, which is the other thing people have to understand. Until your states come on board, of course it's going to be harder for us in like Colorado and California and Washington and wherever there's medicinal cannabis or legal cannabis. It's going to be difficult, and it's going to be wrought with raids and difficulties and onerous regulations and high taxes and like a lot of other bullshit sometimes. But, that's the price of being the outliers right now. Hopefully, like if you want to see something succeed, we need to make the changes in these other states. We need to get them to come on board, and then we're going to start to see the change happen,
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, look, we have to wrap up the show anyway, but, to kind of sum up today, it's like if you're doing good, you should be okay. But, you still there's still collateral damage out there. Yeah. And that's the thing that does suck about this industry.
It's awful. It's awful. I mean, like, I don't think anyone's sitting here maybe Smart Colorado's celebrating or something, but I don't think anyone's celebrating.
Well, not celebrating any of these businesses going through the problems they're going through. And again, if any of these businesses are innocent, and I would be surprised if one or a couple of them aren't maybe free, and it could have just been guilt by association. Guilt by association. So I hope that those guys, their businesses survive as long as they weren't breaking any laws and they can move forward. For those of you who have broken laws, I mean, honestly, you kind of had to know sooner or later it was going to come. I don't know why you would think that you weren't going to be watched, pretty closely if you're in this industry. And so, I mean, you kind of probably are going to get what you deserve. I mean, as long as you're guilty, I hope that only guilty people get brought up into this.
Yeah.
But it is.
No one's celebrating. I don't think anyone's cheering the feds, like kicking down doors.
No.
I think what people are sort of maybe appreciative of is maybe the fact that if there are bad actors, that they are getting weeded out and this industry is maturing a little bit,
Yeah.
And so, again, send all your hate mail to David at thcmag.
And I will forward it to Samantha, so don't worry. I won't even, if you want, you can even just say for Samantha's eyes only, and I'll just forward it. Won't even read them.
Yeah, say for Samantha's eyes only, and it's just going to be like nothing but like a train of dick pics.
That was subliminal messaging, and that's what she's looking forward to seeing.
I just want dick pics.
She
please.
just wants dick pics. Please don't send dick pics to my email. Don't send dick pics to my email.
That's David at TCMag.com.
No, stop. No, I've actually changed my email, by the way. That's not it anymore.
I don't think
there's a spam.
Easy. I don't think there's a spam filter for dick pics. Maybe there is.
Oh, I'm guaranteed there is. Oh my Lord. Yeah, that's how we're ending the show today. All right.
Best way to end the show.
Look, next week is Thanksgiving. So I would like to just personally wish everybody out there a happy Thanksgiving.
I won't be here, and neither will you.
Well, no, none of us will be here. So
should we rerun this show?
No.
Yes, let's rerun this show. Let's rerun this show.
Don't.
Can we, Sam?
What's that? No shows will be playing.
You can't like replay it like remotely or something?
No, people will just play it if they want.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Smart ass.
Okay. All right. Well, now that you're just talking to our producer,
mean producer.
He's
been texting the whole time anyways. He doesn't pay attention to us.
All right.
You know what?
You look, from everybody here at iCannabis Radio and the family, we want to wish you guys all a happy Thanksgiving. Peace, love, and hempiness.